All right, good evening, and I'm Pat Gales, I'm chairperson of the Historical Commission. Oh, well, let's get our visual. There we got Ken. Yeah. How are we gonna? That's fine.
Okay.
Yeah, okay. Sorry, technical difficulties. Here we go. I'm calling the meeting to order of November 9th, 2021. This meeting is a Zoom meeting and it is being recorded. The Pledge of Allegiance, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Secretary's report. Did everyone get it? Yeah. Cool. Pam had many notes. So Pam, I just had two things, and I think they were just typos.
Please, yep.
On page 2, where it says Gail's notes, some records are online, and that word should be searchable instead of just search.
Oh, yeah.
And the second one is on page 4 under the Prehistoric Steps to Preservation and Planning handout. The first one's identifying properties, which is correct, evaluation. And the third step is protection, which got omitted. So did anyone else have any corrections or amendments? I'll entertain a motion to accept the minutes as amended. So moved. There a second? Second. Any discussion? All right, since we're recording, we have to do roll call. Pat? Aye. Pam?
Aye.
Gail? Aye. Rafa?
Aye.
And I'm also an aye. Not present tonight are John Lawrence and Bill Pruitt. On our budget, we have a balance of $890.03. I do have an invoice for Pam and Pat to sign for the table runner, and that was for $155.01, and that'll bring our balance to $735.02.
I have the table runner in my trunk.
Oh, okay, good.
I remember I was like,
Yeah.
Okay, so I have it in my trunk.
right.
The balance now is $890.03.
Right, as of October 31st, it was $890.03.
Okay, and we're gonna submit to the table. runner.
Yeah, so I have this invoice, you can sign it before.
Thank you.
You want me to just pass it around? Yeah. Do that to Pam. Yeah. Okay, unfinished business.
Thank you.
Bristol Agricultural School visit. Rafa, you sent me an email like late this afternoon.
Yes, she still has to get back to me for her.
Yeah, yeah. But we need to get there to do inventory of what we have for artifacts from the
Then we can decide which artifact. So we're gonna do
Yeah.
this,
from the Nate Crane house. I just want to say Nate because my grandson's Nat. And I know we talked.
we were gonna get together.
Yeah.
We didn't though,
We
right?
did. No, I mean, it's.
I don't know
time
what
marches,
came
it's
from the
fine.
house. I don't know if
I think
you,
we have it over there as,
a list or.
I don't, we did get it. I
I'm
know we
sorry.
did get it, but I'm not positive of that.
All right, so would Jim know? Jim
I don't know.
Eddie?
I think we just need to go over there. All I know the list is over there.
All
I
right,
think, Jen, I remember originally they were saying like there was some latches.
There's latches, the hinges, door hinges, you can central door hinges. I mean, some windows rattle. There's plenty of window actually. It's okay.
Oh,
But the other windows, in fact, they could still be outside because I didn't bring them in 2 over 2,
Right.
which is not a store for that house.
thank you.
But the best thing would be to go over there and take a look at. I mean, we'll have a bunch of stuff.
Right,
We'll have a
right.
bunch of stuff.
I'm trying to think like maybe after Thanksgiving or I'm open, Ken, or what do you?
It doesn't matter. I did tell my wife that I had no meetings next week, so cross full time. something. for
So
next
why don't we
week.
say that, yeah, now let's do after Thanksgiving then.
Yeah, so I don't know how soon you would want the stuff over.
Well, we don't have a date to go over. We have to figure out the casing for the display. So it'll be a while, but I think we need to know what we have here. All right. I'll make a note to and set that up.
With Mr. Aguirre, right?
We
It
just have
doesn't
to
have-
get a key.
It doesn't have to be there. You just get the key from Carol.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
And like I said, there's lead paint, dust.
right.
So we probably should wait.
Okay. Next is the plaque for the James Briggs House.
I talked to Ray at Awards Plus, they're currently moving the shop to another location, so to give him a call end of next week, to get that rolling.
Okay. Good. All right. Under preservation planning, our survey and planning grant status, you all received the phase 1 report from Stacy. It is the methodology that we're going to be using, that she's going to be using to undertake our project. Does anyone have any questions or comments? Things that they wondered about?
The town historian have
Yes,
questions about this.
yes, and I have printed out Myrna's questions, and I did talk with Myrna today, and you know, we went over her areas. She had questions about like the areas, making sure that the lower 4 corners is named properly, that Somerset Ave is included. So I will share this with Stacy, and we'll go, you know, and I know Stacy is planning on talking with Myrna too, as part of this project. I also have a Zoom meeting with Stacy and the Mass Historical Commission people next week to go over the report and review where we are. The main concern, I think, for us tonight is to make sure we agree with the criteria, because the criteria will be what's used to determine which 90 properties will be included, because there was more than 90 on our preliminary list. So,
Is it limited to just 90?
yeah, that's the number for the amount of money, yeah. It's on my review,
How much we're paying for it, like that thousand?
yeah,
Divided by 9.
yeah. So, you know, first is inclusion on the preliminary list, and I did give her your address.
I was
Karen.
gonna say, I
Yeah.
didn't see it on.
Yeah.
So,
No, I did give it to her. The second criteria, that it's at risk for being torn down, that we think it's endangered, or that we're gonna lose another building. She has 75 years of age, and we had determined we were working with 100. We want to stick with 100? Okay. The next criteria is architectural quality and integrity. Higher rather than lower, given the extent of other inventory of properties. So it's kind of like a ranking kind of system. Historical merit, you know, why is it important to Dayton? With the people, events, or, you know, whatever. The location where it is, I know, because there are clusters of buildings that are historic in Dayton. There are some standalones, but there are also clusters. And the contribution to the streetscape, how it all looks together as a unit. Are those agreeable to us as a criteria for looking at the properties? And we will, once the properties are determined, we will have a say too as to what, you know, if we agree to those properties that have been chosen.
Are we able, I know in the past we've talked about, it might not be 100 years old, and it might not even be a house, you know, for example.
It says resources.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so that's
It could be
okay.
anything.
Could be
Yeah.
Stone
anything.
wall, it could be
Yeah,
fence, it could be bridge.
yeah.
Anything that kind of is historical merit to our town, even if it's 50 years old.
Could be a tree.
Well, this,
That's what I'm saying,
yeah,
the tree.
this particular piece, we're defining it by 100 years old. And there's so much to do. So,
What's the oldest tree, right? Just many of them.
yeah,
No, I was just using council as an example.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah. See, that would be included in an area, because when I did talk with Stacy, she was kind of like looking at areas kind of that where you could kind of group things together. And that's what off of Elm Street is behind the community church. That's all in that area there. There's all kinds of houses there, the cemetery, you know, so that could be inclusive too. I don't think that was on our preliminary list. Then like down on Pleasant Street and Water Street where our historic districts are, there's houses all around those national historic districts that have historic value. So that could be another like cluster of homes and resources. And the same happens along here on Somerset Ave. Because this is was part of the old Bristol path that led from Taunton all the way to Somerset and well, Somerset Ave to Elm Street. So there again is a grouping of homes. So I think it'll, like even for us to start thinking in like groups of areas, it would be good too, because I think other things may stand out. All right, so we're good with the criteria? All right. And fine. Were there any other questions on, would you like asked of Stacy and or Peter and Michael from the Mass Historical Commission? I thought it was pretty good. I like some of the resources. I might even use some of those resources in my own research.
I agree with that.
Yeah. All right. So I will entertain a motion to accept Stacy's phase 1 report on methodology.
And so moved.
Is there a second?
It's with that change.
Huh?
It's with that change.
To 100, yeah. Yeah, and realizing that this is kind of a fluid, but with 100 years. Okay. I have a motion and a second. Let's vote. Pat? Hi. Pam?
Aye.
Gail? Hi. Rafa? And I'm also an aye.
Who did you both came in at the same time for the second.
Oh, I was gonna, you were louder than me, so no, you were gonna have it. I was fine. with
You
that.
two battle it
We
out.
didn't discuss that.
Nothing to
Oh,
that.
nothing to discuss. I
No
forgot. Ah,
Okay, so Pato, next one will be your turn.
all right. Next is, well, since we got the report, we also got Stacy's invoice for her work for the first phase. So the amount due is $3,750. The CPC is our funding source for this. So we will I'll entertain a motion to approve sending this, how do I want to say this? Approve sending it to the CPC for their approval.
So moved.
Is there a second? You get all of that jumbled words that I said?
I have the motion to approve sending the invoice to the CPC as they are our funding source.
Okay,
And it's $3,750.
right,
And I so move and Rafa now it's your turn.
good. So I will take care of doing that. Also, part of this project is from CAI Technologies. They,
We didn't vote.
we didn't vote?
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
No, don't be
I
sorry.
didn't get through it all the time.
All right, let's mix it up a bit. I'll start with Gail.
I,
Pam,
I,
Pat, Rafa, and I'm also an I. Okay, CAI Technologies, they are our vendor for the Dayton GIS map online through the assessor's office. Part of the project that, one of the products that Stacy is, required to give us is a base map of all of the properties that annotates all of the locations of the historic properties. So we reached out to the vendor, CAI, And this is beyond the scope of work that Dayton has, the contract that they presently have, because this is something new. So he gave a price of $1,900, so I had to talk with Mike about this. And because with the $1,900, it not only gives the town the base map, it also could be used for other projects in town, not just our historic surveys. And it also will give us the hard copy map that Stacy needs as one of her end products with the buildings, parcels, roads, for her to mark up. He also gave, just doing a hard copy map was like $1,300, and then doing no map at all was $850, but we need the map for the project. So Mike and I talked about it, and he felt very strongly that this is something important for the town, and he's willing to find some funding for it and he'll work on that. Stacy agreed to contribute $300 towards the price. So Mike was asking the commission if we would give $300 towards the $1,900 to do this mapping project. Okay. Any questions?
How does that fit in for the budget for the rest of the year?
Mike said he had some accounts that he could look at. He was looking at the technical account and the town administrator account. So, and the selectman salary account.
We don't get much, we get
I-
minimum.
I'm sorry, I have a question.
Yeah.
I'm sure in favor of it by the whole point that it says it can be used for other projects. Well, okay, maybe playground can use it. Should they pitch into?
We don't know, if they're going to have that need. Right now, we have the need. We don't know if other town projects are going to have the need. But if it is there, then the town has the capability. The town is actually going to pay up the bulk of it. We're only saying
Of course, yes.
$300. Oh, and the other piece was, I asked about updating, like if we do another survey, how much would it cost to add more buildings, to the survey? And that would cost between $200 and $500 to add more to this. Nothing's cheap.
Depends on the size of the building too.
No, it's just it's all technical, it's all computerized and.
So Dayton does not have a base map currently?
They have a
Is it
GIS
old?
mapping system.
Right, but how old or what? I guess that's what I'm asking. What would the difference be between CAI's current mapping and it's only online or I mean, when was the last time our map was done?
I don't know all of the information on the GIS system.
Okay, no, I get it, Ralph. I don't know, be curious to see,
I did look at the
Google
map.
I love Google.
You've looked at the map online. At the GIS mapping? No? I did look at it.
Does it seem ancient?
No, it's up to date.
It's current.
Yeah, that's what they use for when you look at the GIS online, it has the property cards and it has, I forget what the other thing is, but you can actually see the parcel. You can't see the building, you can see
Well,
the
then what are we
parcel.
getting for this
You
$1,900?
will be able to see the building and get the overlay on what already exists. You can get the overlay that puts the historical survey right on top of it, because you can do an overlay of zoning and you can do an overlay of wetlands.
See what I mean? I feel that this is a map that would be quite useful, yes, but not just to us. It'd be useful by zoning,
Right.
be useful by licensing.
Yeah, but they already use that now, because the wetlands are there now.
Right,
You
they-
can
right,
see the
using it.
wetlands,
Yeah.
you
We
see
already,
the
and
zones.
you still pay an engineer to
it's
go out and look
our
at the
portion.
wetlands.
It's our portion about the historic homes that would of course be beneficial to us.
Right,
Right.
and the bottom line is we need the base map done. And the base map would cost you $1,300, the hard copy of the base map. This, it says, if all that is needed is a hard copy map printed out on 36 by 48 inch paper. I'm gonna say inch, so I would imagine, with parcels, buildings, roads, road names, etc., for you to mark up, we could do so for $1,300. So for $1,300, we're just gonna get the hard copy map. For another $6 on it, it gives to the town more flexibility because the town is actually paying the bulk of it, not the commission.
Yeah, because they're paying the 16. Well, we have 3.
Right.
Stacy picked up another 3.
Right.
So that's 600. So now we're at 13.
Yeah.
Well, the town's 13.
Right. All right, does anyone else have any other questions? Oh, I know what I want to say. In looking at our budget, we know that we have, after our invoice tonight, $735. We take the 300 away from that, and that gives us $435 left in our budget. Our goal was to spend what we needed to this year. So that's the effect it has on our budget.
So we're on target.
Yeah. All right. So I will entertain a motion to allocate $300 to the cost of the Dayton base map by CAI Technologies. Is there a second? Second. And any more discussion? All right, and we'll vote. Rafa?
Aye.
Gail? Aye. Pam?
Aye.
Pat? Aye. And I'm also an aye. Thank you. Okay. The historical marker program, I went to work on the letters and stuff, and I realized in the description of the cost, we should amend it to say the approximate cost of the marker is $125 plus tax and shipping. So that's clear. All right, I need a motion to amend the historical marker program application to add tax and shipping to the cost of the marker. Thank you. Is there a
Very
second?
dramatic.
I will second.
Okay, any further discussion? All right, we'll vote. Pat? Aye. Pam?
Aye.
Gail? Aye. Rafa?
Aye.
And I am also an aye.
Just to add, we got an email from the sign maker, Robert Peach.
Yeah,
He said he shipped the 2 markers.
excellent.
I sent him a deposit check.
Okay, good, and he wanted the other markers for Karen and
Excellent.
Oh, cool, cool.
I can't wait to see them.
No, I know. Are we gonna have a little party too?
I guess.
can we use the $435?
And wipe it out.
Yep. There you go. Bring your crowns,
We're
Rafa.
getting there.
Now being taped.
Under grant applications, the application eligibility has been submitted to the CPC. And I sent in the FY survey and planning grant letter of intent to apply. So that was due for November 15th. So hopefully we'll hear a positive thing from that and we can continue on our project. Under the CPC, I plan on going to their next meeting, not only to talk about, the invoice and the report, but also if they have any questions about our application with eligibility. And I'm sure anybody else here is welcome to join me. Yeah. So
Didn't have a quorum for the last meeting.
they didn't.
They couldn't.
Oh,
That's what Tom, welcome today.
okay, yeah,
He hopes to have a quorum for next meeting.
okay,
Bill was present, but
okay.
our guy was present.
Well, good. that's good to know. Next is the discussion on the video on local historic districts.
Mhm.
Very helpful.
I thought it was interesting.
Yeah.
It's way beyond where we are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely.
It was the second time I was overwhelmed.
Yeah.
I was like, it's worse than the first time.
I got about 15 or 20 minutes in with I liked the history about how they preserved Mount Vernon. And, you know, I liked that whole history of the impetus to even do this.
Right.
I don't know if I was more surprised that there are more properties than what I anticipated or less. I don't know. It was.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to watch it in bulk.
Well, I learned that Provincetown, which is smaller than Melbourne, over 60% is considered historic district.
Yeah.
Local historic
Right.
district.
And you just added like 15, how did I hear 15
Yeah,
properties?
yes.
I mean, that's amazing.
That's
We'll never
amazing.
find it.
Yes. Yeah, and Nantucket is like a whole.
All of
Yeah.
it. It's
Yeah.
rich.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, it's like, wow. So, I mean, I watched it twice, but I watched it a while back and then, so, okay, yep, I got this. Then I got into establishing a local historic district and I was like, my eyes were
Me too.
crossing.
I was trying. I was like backing it up. Like,
So, but what I took away from it that we probably can work on is the connection that we have to make with other departments in town, with the planning board, the building inspector, the town administrator, almost anybody that we can talk to about our history and, you know, what our mission and our goal is. So I saw Tim, who's the chairperson of the planning board, and I said, how would you like me to come talk to your board? So I will be probably doing that. I'll set up a time. I also saw Jeff Cavallo, and I'll talk about him in a little bit, the same thing. But I think if we reach out and have that connection, that's going to be really powerful for us and also to help them understand, you know, the history and what's important. A lot of them are great supporters of the history of the town, so.
Well, he was,
He wanted to burn James Priest's house, remember?
okay,
They charged partnership for the firefighters.
he eventually
He's supportive.
Put that in
he
the-
supported,
I would.
eventually supported the like social society, so.
Yeah. So I think it's also showed us that we're on the right road as far as identifying what, and updating our survey. And I liked the whole conversation about how your historic architecture shows like your investment in your town and its contribution to economics. And I thought that was really interesting and a piece that we have to kind of like keep in our mind when we're talking about history, when we're talking about the mission of the historical
So what
commission.
parallel did you see with Dayton?
For business,
Yeah,
Yeah,
There
that,
isn't much. There
There's
isn't much.
not
How much
but
of this
no,
town's
yeah.
heritage is left?
but you know, if you're showing like with the markers on the houses and we're trying to show, you know, showcase our history, that attracts people in too. But that goes into your development and the industrial committee, yeah,
DIC.
so. I like to think about, so,
It was into education.
I think education, yeah,
The public, you know, because they have all these connotations, bad connotations, oh, you know. If you declare my house a historical house, do I still have the right to change? whatever?
exactly,
Yeah.
Stuff like that,
exactly.
all these misconceptions about historical houses.
right, and maybe just general conversations about it,
Yeah.
Yeah.
About property rights.
Right.
Especially property rights.
I have had general conversations and yes. Yeah, well, I need the roof replaced, you know, so what do I, and can I change the mailbox? And I tried to explain.
Yeah, because it's interesting because Dan and I talked about our house, like we went to Zillow. And then when we bought the house like 5 years ago, it was like 385,000. Now it's like over $500,000. And you want to,
And you let the tax assessor know that.
so yeah. So, and they wondered, well, so do you want to really sell this house when we get older? Like, I want to die in this house. What are you talking about? You know, I
Not right
this
away.
house. Not right away. But I think when you
Not
think about the
tonight.
future, what do you do? I mean, where do you find the right person to move into the house and maintain its history and whatnot? There's no guarantee, because eventually you probably want to demolish it and build a park, a mall over it.
Happens all,
So there's no
very often
guarantee.
it happens,
Yeah,
yeah.
So how do you convince like future potential buyers? Are we going to impose some sort of like, what do you call it, easements?
Yeah.
Well, it'd be on the deed,
My brother-
right, I would think. Does it go on the deed?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Somebody
when you-
buy it?
yeah, yeah, because your local historic districts are they're registered at the registry of deeds.
Mhm.
So people, but sometimes there are people out there that do look for historic homes. We just haven't been looking in Dayton.
We haven't found it.
Remember
Yeah,
tried looking at that
yes.
man on Facebook? Local. Oh, interesting.
Yeah, he was from Virginia or something.
Yeah, and I reached out to him.
Andrew Young?
Yeah,
Yes, and he had a whole video that showed his work, but yeah, I mean, he didn't live in Cumberland, I could drive every day,
right,
so.
right. The other thing I thought was interesting, like, I'm not real good at identifying styles of homes. So when they were talking about the design review, what you're looking for and everything, I was like, well, that's pretty cool. So of course I go right to Amazon and look for books, you know.
I went to the library and did the same thing.
Yeah. Yeah. Because I'm like, I guess I have to learn a little bit about that because it's fascinating.
It is.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So, all right, good discussion. You want to watch another video?
Is it possible-
Come on, we'll look at house styles, that would be.
But the process of creating a local historic district is tedious.
It is.
Yes,
It takes
yes.
years,
Yeah,
because you have to go through all these different obstacles and challenges and stuff.
right.
Yeah, so-
And so that's kind of like.
So let's start with North Dayton Village. That's like,
But I was
it's like the
thinking-
most, you know,
I was thinking about our areas. I mean, there's nothing to say that as a historical commission, we can't say to the people that live in, you know, North Dayton Village and Mount Hope houses, you know, come and have a conversation with us. You know, just give us your thoughts, you know, why, what do you think of your house? Why your area is important to you? You know, just have those kinds of conversations with neighborhoods. Talk to the people that are already in like the National Historic Districts. Why is it important, you know, that you're in this house? And I just think those kind of things of building relationships, and it's good to get, and then they'll go and talk to their neighbors, and it's all about the history. So we can work on doing that.
I think it's gonna be more difficult to get a historic districts. I think it's gonna be easier to get like Rafa wants his house, I want my house on it, so that the future, somebody can just knock it down if they want. Right, so to get individual houses, I think that
Yeah.
has to be our main goal, but I think with the demolition delay bylaw going before the town, it was horrendous. I mean, people don't want somebody telling them what they can do with their house.
Right.
And we try to get a stone wall, 100 years old, and that was like 3 times it went before the town, and all the times. I mean, and people who owned whole houses were against it, because they didn't want us telling them you can't take your stone wall down. But who would like to have the bricks stone wall? Would we like to have that taken down? No, that's historic.
Right.
So I think it's going to be easy if we can convince some people to have their houses put out, and maybe others will join in. But I think the district is really going to be tough.
does the town have any stone wall?
I don't think they, well,
Yeah,
we own there's now a stone wall between the bricks and the
Perimeter.
right. And I did give them permission to, they had to have an opening for the parking lot. They asked me, I probably should have brought it back here, if they could have an opening, but you gotta be able to have people to get into the library. So I did, and I told them to preserve the stones, but then somebody told me it's not historic. That's not,
I think
bricks.
that was like 1930s or
Yeah.
so.
Sometimes.
Yeah, it's almost,
yeah, but it,
yeah,
it's several years to go.
right.
Pat Olson is here.
But Preservation Massachusetts, they do have some good videos and their conversations, and they're starting up those conversations on Zoom, Zoom webinar kinds of things, so yeah. So, I watched a lot of those during, like, last year, when we had those, and those are always interesting. So, does anyone have anything else to add to our discussion?
No, I just want to point out that I watched 15 minutes of the video. I did not watch the whole thing.
I did an hour and a half and I felt guilty. You're 15
I
to
only
20.
take 15 to
I
20.
did an
So
hour and a
45 minutes.
half.
I did too, yeah. I twice.
No, once.
Well, yeah, Gail and I watched it way back when.
You put it on the
Head was
TV,
spinning.
or you watch it, you put it on a TV.
You go to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can do it on a phone.
I just watched
I
that.
was on my phone.
Laptop.
Oh,
Oh,
that's even
wow.
worse.
Oh,
An hour and a half.
boy.
Yeah.
You should have called me. You could have come to my house.
You
and
know,
watched
you'd
it.
make me watch it longer than that.
You'd be watching it twice.
No.
That would be watching it twice.
Okay, capital outlay request forms. So, as you know, the town administrator and the selectmen form the capital outlay committee. So any expenditures beyond $5,000 have to be on a form, and it goes into the planning stages for the next 5 years.
Yeah, we have a meeting in December, the capital outlay committee, and these have to be in, I think it's November 18th. I see
November
15th here. I see
yeah.
on the top of the phone here, 15th, but
No, I think it's November 18th.
Yeah.
So, I talked with Mike about the, continuing, like our identification process, and also about the segregated schoolhouse. And, because it's important that the segregated schoolhouse be on the radar, for any kind of building planning or whatever. So the forms that I sent, did everyone have a chance to review them? Are there any questions? FY23 is the money that we put in the letter for this year for the Mount Hope project and for the CPC. And then FY24 is continuing, and that's in case we don't get the funding for whatever reason, because that would be another back-to-back. As you know, the Mass Historical Commission generally doesn't like to give out back-to-back grants, but I'm of the mind where if you don't ask for it, you don't have a chance. So FY24 would be another update, always adding properties, because even as we're doing this, there are properties that are turning 100 as we speak. Then FY25 would be the segregated school. He suggested the $45,000 for the architectural designs and plans. The segregated school is actually a part of what's becoming known as our municipal campus. All of these buildings here are all town-owned, so it is a part of that, and it should be considered and thought of that, and not just allowed to sort of sit there. It is also the only town-owned one-room schoolhouse. There are other old one-room schoolhouses in town, but they're owned by private citizens, ones with the Historical Society.
one on Elm Street, one of Carl owns it,
Yeah,
the one on the end of Main Street.
right.
I don't know.
Devars.
What's that?
Devars.
Is it Devars? I don't know. the name.
Flat Rock School.
Yeah.
That's the one across the street from
Now
me.
you told me. No.
In the VFW, wasn't that?
That was school, yeah.
Are you
Ah,
torn that down? Is it still there?
What's the story?
But yeah, it's still, yeah, someone bought that.
Yeah, I wasn't sure they tore it
I think
down.
they're redoing it.
Is there a lead issue or
What's that place?
is that a lead issue problem?
This one over here? What?
Yeah,
No.
Oh, I don't know about.
No, it has rock issues.
Yeah, they waited too long to replace the
Oh,
roof.
yeah, it's the water.
Yeah. So,
So this 45,000 is for somebody to come in and give us an estimate as to how much it's going to cost to, or what has to be done to.
what has
repair
to
it.
be done, because there's parking, ADA, lead paint, there's heat, Your
Has no heat.
has no heat, probably electric,
That's
Yeah.
bathrooms. Yeah,
It's just, once you put the bathroom in, then you're gonna have to heat all the time.
Right.
yeah, so,
Do we think this building's gonna, is it gonna be able to hang in there for 4 years? Because now, am I right? It's only 4 years away just for the study?
right, right, it's kind of a, if something happens, though, it's on the town. If it gets a hole in the roof, say.
Like if a tree fell on it.
You would have to
yeah,
repair it,
yeah.
you'd have to repair it,
Right,
yeah.
right.
It also comes under the municipal building committee,
Mhm.
you know, so that'll be another, committee that we have to work with, because this is a historic building, the Old Town Hall, Stable Gate School, the Carnegie Library, and the North Dayton Fire Barn. You know, so it's important, I think that we, you know, give our viewpoints on our historic buildings, no matter where we go. And then, and FY 26, another, I put identification and update, because I'm hoping by then, we can start identifying new properties if we haven't already done so. I would love to, you know, that, I really have to work on helping you with your forms, if we could figure out how to do them on our own. You know, because,
Well, that was the plan,
yeah,
because we're not gonna keep paying somebody $25,000 every few years as new houses become 100 years old. So we need to be able to stand on our
Yeah.
own 2 feet.
yeah. I'd like to see it.
Well, I'm just assuming that she's not at that point in time in her work that she can have one of us or plenty of us
Right.
watch her what she does, because she's
Right.
doing preliminary stuff right now. But once that's done, yeah, I expect to sit with someone.
Right. And I also want to study the samples that she gave us, and samples,
Mhm.
because, some of it's just template stuff. You know what you want to put in, you know, and that's where knowing about house styles comes in, it's knowing about genealogy comes in, knowing your resources, where to go. Like you mentioned to me, I knew Old Colony has all kinds of resources, I just haven't gotten there to.
Is anyone else a member? I
I
joined
am.
the colony.
Yeah.
You are a member?
Yep.
Oh, okay. So there is, I was told, I haven't been to see it yet, but I was told there's plenty of information on early Dayton and plenty of photographs. So I very much would like, and then they said there's a whole section on the mill. So that's a separate, you know, but he said South Dayton, they had a lot of stuff. I'd very much like to see that. So I was there today and I just looked at a few things quick, but
They've done a wonderful job there with their displays.
Oh, it's
and
beautiful.
everything.
Mhm.
Yeah, yeah, it's really, really nice. All right, does anyone have any questions on our capital? Request forms? Do they pass muster, Ken? Because you're on that
Yeah,
committee.
no, I think it does.
Okay,
You know, this is a projection, so it may change.
right,
I mean, we're saying 45,000, who knows in a couple of years, whether it's gonna be 60,000.
Mhm.
well,
But
okay.
we want to get an idea as what the future plans are for the town, so
I think that's fabulous that you've never really had that.
thanks to Mike Mullin.
Yeah.
He's doing a great job there.
Okay, I'll entertain a motion to accept the capital request forms as written to be submitted to the capital outlay committee. There's a second? No second. Any more further discussion? All right, let's vote. Pat? Aye. Pam? Aye. Gail? Aye. Rafa? And I'm also an aye. Next is the Dayton Trails Committee. I watched the special town meeting warrant article review, and I saw Jeff Cavallo give his overview on the Trails Committee plans, and I thought he was really good, you know, about it. But then I also got thinking that, oh, we have a lot of history on our river. And if they're doing trails, there should be something that does, you know, denotes our history. So I happened to see him at town meeting. So I introduced myself. And so we chatted and had a nice chat, and he agreed that, you know, the history along the river was important. And, you know, he would like to share what their plans are with us so that we can have some input. They're also having The DCR was the Department of Conservation and Recreation. Yeah.
I think so.
They're having, things going on at Sweet Knoll too, so there's,
Oh. I like it there.
Did I tell you there's a new book on the Cotton River that's coming out in the
Yes.
springtime?
yes, in fact, Katie McDonald from Old Colony came to the Historical Society and looked at pictures and stuff about that, yes.
I'm excited to see that.
Yes. So, having a conversation with Jeff, so I think going forward, I would like to invite him to January's meeting to talk about what their plans are for the trails in Sweet Knoll Park and how we can kind of make sure the history gets told as people are on those trails. So is that? So I will invite him. I don't have any correspondence. There's no public input. I didn't see anybody in the waiting room. Other stuff. Then one day in the parking lot, coming from the library, I saw Kevin Smith. And yes, we're having a second firecracker festival. He's not sure.
Yay.
People are gonna hate to see me coming.
Why?
Tupperware lady. Oh, the am.
Don't
Remember
answer
the
the
am
door.
lady?
Yes.
Am way.
It's a color.
Yeah. So they are planning on having one, the dates to be determined. He hopes to have something kind of like in progress by January to notify us and everything, so. I thought that was good to share.
Since we had a real park or something.
Yes, when we were setting up, I was asked that question quite a bit. So when are the fireworks? And I don't really know why it was. All good. Firecracker
All good.
festival it is.
All right, so, is there anything else? We're good. Our next meeting date is December 14th at 7 p.m. And if there's nothing else, I will entertain a motion to adjourn. Second,
I second.
okay, let's vote. Pat? Aye. Pam?
Aye.
Gail?
Aye.
Rafa?
Aye.
And I'm an aye. And thank you. We're adjourned. Let me shut this.
7:52.
7 p.m.
Made up for last week.
That's what was it.
Otherwise. Bill Ford didn't contact me.
That video.
Is it up?